Good evening. Welcome to another live poetry reading. Tonight's poets are Laura Vosika, Greg Rude, Sandra Anfang, and Willie Johnson. As usual, I will start with a couple of my poems. In disgrace with fortune. If only the world would hold me up when I come undone with disruptions. Plans and wishes fall out of my cup, and all I see are life's complications. My burdens, like heavy snow on a tree, bending branches ostrich-like to the ground. I know what it's like to hide, to try to flee, to try to disregard any bitter sound. But no matter how I adjust my pace, what streets or paths I trample down, the dilemmas arrive and I must face. This is my life, this is my town. So far, each hardship I have survived, sometimes admitting, glad to be alive. This poem is called Something About Him. Something about him seemed fishy. Maybe it was the way his eyes, large as a wall, were always slanted to the side. It could be that he spoke, his words rounded, his mouth always in a pucker. His walk was strange, as if he couldn't separate his feet. His face and neck were ragged, like he pulled a boatload of lures out. Yes, something about him was fishy. It might have been the gills. Our first reader tonight is Laura Vosika. She is a writer, poet, musician, podcast host, and mother of 10. Her time travel series, The Bluebells Chronicles, which ranges across modern and medieval Scotland, has garnered praise for its historical accuracy and the very real personalities inhabiting its pages, along with comparisons to writers as diverse as Diana Gabaldon and Dostoevsky. Her poetry has been published in the Moscow, can't talk tonight, and the Martin Lake Journal 2017. Laura has been featured in newspapers, on radio and TV, has spoken for regional book events, and hosts the popular Books and Brews, the place where beer and literature meet. As a musician, Laura has performed on the trombone, flute, and harp in orchestras and big bands. She lives in the North Woods of Minnesota with her husband and their small and dainty Irish wolfhound. Let's hear Laura.
I was trying to unmute in the wrong place. Thank you for having me, Ron. So as we were discussing beforehand, I'm up here in Duluth. We are looking at the snowiest winter in the history of Minnesota, if we get just another inch or two. So for that, I have a poem, Too Much Snow Today, like really flippin' piled hot Irish coffee. That was actually written by my husband, but it was so apropos that, I had to do it. So this poem is an experience I think we've all had as poets. The poem twisted through my head as I sat mesmerized by the sea, by the sea, by the bright and shining sea. I'll remember it, I said, as I watched the undulating lights twinkle on the sea, on the sea, on the bright and shining sea. And when I rose to find a pen, I found the poem had fled, skipping away on the sea, on the sea, on the welcoming arms of the sea. This next one is a partial quatrain called Forgive Me. Thank you. Forgive me. The times I failed you were hardly my fault. Why must you be so harsh, so critical and condemning, so full of anger? And yet still I ask, will you ever forgive me? The times I failed you, it's true, I could have tried harder, been more patient, waited longer, held my tongue in my own anger. Maybe I need to ask you to forgive me the times I failed you. Here is a sonnet to socks. We here in Minnesota know this feeling very well. The day is warm, and yet my feet are cold. Our modern world of comfort fills them with ice that sets me all a shiver uncontrolled, seeping from the backyard's lumbering device that groans and shudders in the blazing summer heat that percolates in every yard and street. Every one of us saved from such a fate of roasting and broiling in a sweaty, sweltering state. And so, my poor extremities, poor toes, stop your sad complaint, your tale of woes. Is shivering in summer the worst you've borne? Snow may be worse, and yet I'm torn. We are slowly approaching the autumn equinox. The heat comes on, and I can finally shed my socks. Okay, these next couple were written when I was visiting my son in Hawaii. So there is this huge cliff that people dive off of. And it's terrifying, but I made myself do it. So, oh, wait, I have something for this. Surging, pounding, surging beat. Waimea pounds a primal drum. Hot sands dance on burning feet. Surging, pounding, surging beat. Waves drive in, harsh and fleet. Swiftly surge back where they came from. Surging, pounding, surging beat. Waimea pounds a primal drum. My little musical interlude. So this next one is Morning at Kaneohe Bay, which is also in Hawaii on Oahu. It's a triole. Your surf is quick and light, dancing in and out like a watery spray. Whose laugh is heard in the swish of waves. Your surf is quick and light like a watery seafoam spray. This is Alessia, my violin, a sonnet. Alessia, my violin, a lovely thing to look upon, to feast my starving eyes upon your sweetest curves. And oh, what sighs slip from my lips when I hear you sing, smooth as a dove, rising on a wing. Your elegance and grace will energize each man from low to high, the foolish and the wise, baker and earl, urchin and mighty king. But fair Alessia, they've squandered all their dreams, for you will not be wooed by admiration, nor swayed by words spilled out on endless reams. Your soul demands a man of dedication enough to plumb your motifs and learn your themes, for you require more than mere flirtation. This next one is, thank you, is in the book that I published with my husband on Wings of Love and Light, and it is a collection of poetry and essays on the theme of love. So this is one I like. Somewhere in London, under a smoke-filled sky, the sweeps are dancing on the gables under the sooty stars. And somewhere in London, far below their chimney stacks, Annabelle stretches, a languid lioness, while beside her David sleeps. She stares at the ceiling and thinks of James. Oh, James, the wisest fool and saddest man, chose a queen he hadn't seen and wooed her from her Danish marsh. To the window, Annabelle glides to watch the smoky, starry skies while David sleeps and the buildings rise, blotting out the countryside. And somewhere out there she sees, as if through the walls and down the marble halls, James lies awake in his golden bed, his queen in white asleep at his side. But now he's seen, and now he knows what she tried to hide beneath the cross of gold. On moonlit nights, he's been told, it swings as she sways through the dark alleyways and past the opium dens, up to the rooftops and smoky stacks. With white gown and gold cross, she dances with sweeps in sooty black. Foolish, wise James to the window goes, thinking of spring and Annabelle, praying prayers he'll never tell. As he scans the sooty streets, his queen is dreaming of chimney sweeps, all while David blissfully sleeps. Thank you. This is another sonnet. It is about busy days. The day flew away. The day flew away like a galloping horse on the wind, with a flurry of hooves, staccato sharp hooves that drummed a beat of 100 things to do, that waved like his mane in the wind and the rain without end, the growing needs of the day like his legs extend and flash so fast in a dizzying flash that reproved my desperate attempt to cling to his mane as he moved, as he railed, as he flew, as he flashed, as he dashed. I contend with the dizzying flying array of a chore-studded day till he crashed at last in a furious flushing blast in the last glowing pink-purple streaked hues of Compline into his welcoming stall, all lined with hay, sigh and swoon under the moon. The day passed so swift and soon into the relaxing ruby red glass of wine. And speaking of wine, this one is written in an old bardic form, but I don't remember what the form is called. So, wine and words. A glass of wine, your lips on mine, both taste divine in soft moonlight. But each kind word, so softly heard, each joke absurd, brings more delight. This is about my son when I used to take him to football when he was in 6th or 7th grade. Football fall. Boys, little boys, straining to be men and halfway there. Bulbous helmets bob to your laps in pumpkin-spiced air. In the damp evening dew, hands in wet grass, do push-ups too. Edge of field, little girls dance, waving pom-poms, they dream of romance. Golden couple, hand in hand, smile seeing their younger days under the waning sun's rays. Violet dusk, edges field, where coaches called and little boys ran, swinging helmets, strong and tall, they come to my van. All right, this is, I wanted to do a costume change for this, dress the part, but it just wasn't gonna work. So you'll have to take me as I am. But imagine a librarian, you know, with glasses even nerdier than these. Good sir, I do humbly request that you remove your monkeys from my home. You, I found delightful on your own, a charming and cultured man, tall and lithe and quick of wit, in a dashing morning coat with your top hat on. And let me not forget, delightful to look upon. But in all our sunny morning walks, in all our philosophic walks before I invited you in, you failed to mention that you travel with the circus, or that your monkeys were beloved above all and go where you go. Hence, they are now in my kitchen, in my parlor, in my hall. They're digging through my clothes and clipping my earrings to their tails. They've stained my curtains with their muddy paws. They're swinging from my closet rails and they've torn up the garden, including my favorite rose. Is there a delicate way to say they've left a certain unmentionable mess on my tablecloth of heirloom lace, and that's not the only place. And so, good sir, delightful as you are, I find your failure to mention your monkeys a point of serious contention. And though I'll miss your charming wit, neither it nor your dazzling conversation is enough for me to endure this vexation. Your monkeys, the ones you didn't mention, may not stay. Take them back to your circus home. And as I've come to question your intentions, I beg you to stay away. Signed, your lady of convention. Gardening with my son. We kneel on the garden path. Rich dark loam rises like a sea all around our raft of paving stones. His hands in dirt, seeds in neat rows, each an inch deep. Soil stains his face and shirt. When did my son become a man kneeling to nurture life? He shows me how to grow. This last one is called Northern Town, and it is an ode to the snow that is still coming down out there, right outside my window. It's April 16th, and the city's alive with flash of cars and people rush by, all muffled in soft, silent swirl of Christmas snow that blankets the world. Spring is here, and so is the snow. In a northern town, that's just how it goes. From the warm coffee shop, I watch this sweet contradiction. Softly, softly, the snow comes down. This is life in a northern town. Thank you. And that is my last poem.
Thank you, Laura. Very enjoyable poetry. especially like the sonnets. I'd always find them a challenge to write a good one.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun working in forms and really kind of pushing myself,
Right.
testing my limits.
Yeah, they can be fun. Next up, we have Willie J. Johnson. Willie was born in Detroit, Michigan, and grew up on the south side of Chicago. He has written over 60 articles for various publications, including scholarly journals, newspapers, poetry, anthologies, etc. He is also a former first and second place winner of the Creekside Poetry Contest. His education includes a BA in Speech Theater from Hamline University, MA in Communication from the University of Minnesota, and a PhD in Educational Policy and Administration from the University of Minnesota. Since 1982, Willie has been a full-time tenured faculty member at Normandale Community College in Bloomington, Minnesota, where he teaches interpersonal communication, public speaking, and intercultural communication. Since 2000, he's been an adjunct full professor at St. Mary's University Schools of Graduate and Professional Programs. Take it away, Willie.
Thank you, Ron. Glad to be here. Pleasure. The first poem that I'm going to read is my father died very young, and I was a teenager then, so I spent the years hence getting to know him in absentia, in other words, but a lot to explore. This first one is called In My Father's Eyes. I saw the sadness in my father's eyes, the shadows of his hopes and dreams that would never be, the doleful way in which he glanced at noisy people passing by, the ones who never noticed him standing there, the ones who were captivated by their own full-throated happy dramas and sad dramas and superfluous dramas. The sadness in my father's eyes held a menagerie of errant thoughts and wistful musings about why people do what they do, say what they say, live how they live. I saw the sadness in my father's eyes, sorrow seeping out from his mournful heart, sorrow oozing out from his weary, troubled eyes, sorrow searching for seeds of happiness that would never be. I saw the sadness in my father's eyes, eyes clouded with shadows of things that would never be. I see the sadness in my father's eyes, in my eyes. Yep. The second one is about love. It's probably the antithesis of the love that Laura spoke about, but here it is. It's called Splatter. That gives you an idea of what's coming. Okay. Spit out again by another love mirage. I was hurled head over heels through torrid air that made me feel cold. Chaotic, blustery gales tossed me about, finally splattering me face down upon the dirt. Sneezing soil from my nostrils, feeling a heavy shroud of pain cover my body, I slowly turned over to stare up wearily at the dark, foreboding sky. But I could not see the sky because you were bending over me, your face inches from mine. Your eyes sparkled, and a tincture of a smile played upon your mouth. Quickly, I pretended that my body and soul did not ache and that my face was not covered with streaks of dirt. I slowly rose to meet you, all the while sensing something in you that had a mental aroma of fermented pain and suffering. Ever so faintly, I heard the gloomy siren song of your brokenness emanating from you, but I tuned it out. I went into my Sir Galahad with essence of Don Quixote mode, ready to nobly save the day, to save you, ready to ignore my own brokenness. With my ragged, melancholy heart, I freely gave my all to you. You lapped it up as if it was fresh, warm, sweet cream. You took from me, but you gave nothing in return. You mistook my kindness for weakness. I mistook my weakness for kindness. Once again, pain pulsed through every fiber of my soul. You were another love mirage, engorging yourself, ready to spit me out. But I found enough resolve deep inside me, just enough to make certain that I would not leave this world an eviscerated fool. With as much energy as I could summon, I stood as tall as I could. I shrugged you off the back of my soul and felt your parasitic soul suckers forcefully disengage with a soggy popping sound. Exhausted, I ran far away from you, all the way to a quiet place of healing. Retreating inside my soul, I saw the goddess ocean, who bade me to love myself and act from a place of abundance, to give love in places where love will be given back to me. No more love mirages, no more traveling with Sir Galahad or Don Quixote inside me. This next one, it's a trilogy, three of them that I wrote. My youngest daughter, she was born at 29 weeks, so quite a scary time, and especially after we had two children that had died in infancy before that. So as she was thriving and so forth, and it was apparent she's going to make it, I began writing some poetry. And here's the first one for Moana Maisie Johnson. My daughter, you are a human dynamo. Looking into your beautiful brown eyes, I see parts of your soul. There's a fire burning brightly inside of you, and this energy will not allow you to stop moving, growing, imagining, knowing. Your angelic golden brown face with its easy smile shows hints of the heights to which you will soar. Go, 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 little one. Show your determination and persistence. Find your calling. Clap, clap, clap your hands in celebration. Feel the joy. The blood of your mother and father flow into you from fonts of two great continents. They have given you their love. Beauty, energy, intelligence, and love. That is you. Go, 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 little one. And a year after that, I wrote this one. It's Moana, you sure can dance. Hello, girl with the dancing eyes. I see you looking at me, inviting me to join as you turn and jump and spin. For a second, I am almost entranced by that magic you be spreading. I almost turn and jump and spin, but daddy's too old for that now. But I will watch you fly, and my eyes will follow you while my heart leaps with joy. You with the dancing eyes, not getting tired, don't want to rest. There you go again, turning, jumping, and spinning. Oh my, my, my. And the third one, to my youngest daughter, waving my daughter forward. Spring forward, daughter. Lunge as far as you can. Charge ahead with exuberance. I am here, a few steps behind you, struggling to keep up. I am here if you stumble and fall backward. I trail behind you, daughter, taking the place that you once held when you were trying to keep up with me. I see you far ahead, stopping for a moment, looking back at me, tilting your head, checking to see if I'm okay. It warms my heart. One day, somewhere along the road, I will be too far behind you. Then I will lovingly wave you on and watch you until you are out of sight. Spring forward, daughter. Lunge forward with exuberance. Charge ahead and go as far as you can. And the last one I'm going to read is called The Great Spirit Tells Me to Grab the Joy of Life. I will live my life in full splendor from this moment forward, be it through the joy of brighter days or the white dreariness of pain. I will revel and triumph while I walk the wonderful and narrow black line of life, thrilled by the dizzying possibility of falling down, falling far, hurting, even dying, but all the while living because I am not afraid to live and I delight in life. On some unsuspecting day, I will take my last breath, having fought my last fight, having laughed my last laugh, having cried my last tear. But for now, I will live fully. No beige bundle of bestial burden will drag me down because I will charge back, all the while flexing my muscles and my brain, being alive, living every moment as if it were my last, never afraid to live, never afraid to give, never afraid to love. The Great Spirit lets me continue to wrestle the demons of doubt that sometimes spread thick white clouds across my mind, which block out the light of joy like puffs of choky white smoke. Doubt and fear are always waiting there for me, but I will beat them back because joy lives inside me. Jubilant life, as strong as the mighty black Himalayas, lives inside me. Hear my song because it gives me strength. Touch my hand and feel the warmth of the dazzling light. Come close and see how in my human imperfection I rise to a higher plane, jumping and soaring, heart and soul thrusting through the heavens. Each new day brings more joy. So beware you who live in the shadows, because there is a light that shines within me. The Great Spirit tells me to grab the joy of life. I am grabbing. The joy is mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Willie. Last poem was very powerful. I enjoyed it very much. Next up, we have Sandra Anfang. Sandra is a California poet, teacher, and artist. Her poems have appeared in numerous journals, including Rattle, The New Verse News, The MacGuffin, and Spillway. She's won many awards, most recently the Inna Cobriff Circle Poetry Contest, the Soul Making Keats Contest, and the Poets Dinner Contest. Two of her haiku took second and third place in the San Francisco International Haiku Contest. Her poetry collections include Looking Glass Hard, Road Warrior, Zealand Highway, and Finishing School. She's been nominated for a Best Short Fictions Award, Best of the Net, and a Pushcart Prize, as well as for an AWP-sponsored 2023 George Garnett Award for Outstanding Community Services in Literature. Sandra is the founder and host of the monthly series Rivertown Poets and a poetry teacher with California Poets in the Schools. Besides writing, she produces a radio program devoted to poetry on KPCA-FM and hosts a YouTube channel called Rivertown Poets. Take it away, Sandra.
Thank you so much, Ron, and everyone who's here listening. Appreciate it. I'm going to start with a villanelle. I just started writing villanelles a couple of years ago, but I really love them. I wrote this last year, and I guess it was prophetic because we came out of a 3-year drought this year with all of our rain. It's called Kill Your Darlings. I plucked tomatoes, cart their spines away, hobbled playgrounds where red fruits once climbed. Kill your darlings is the mantra of the day. We suffer over what to sacrifice to save, as drought consumes our gardens, shrivels vines. I pluck tomatoes, cart their spines away. The greens I babied early March to May wore shining leaves and pods I long admired. Kill your darlings is the mantra of the day. I clear the yard's detritus, new decay, and watch my gaunt trees threaten to expire. I pluck tomatoes, cart their spines away. Like Sophie, I must make my choice today. Close my eyes, knowing I must hack mind. Kill your darlings is the mantra of the day. But death is its own life, has its own way. May winter rains swell roots for us to find. I pluck tomatoes, cart their spines away. Kill your darlings is the mantra of the day. Thank you. Next poem I'm going to read is called What They Saved, Trail of Tears. It has a little epigraph. Fire destroys Greenville, California, August 2021. Home to the Maidu for centuries before the white man pushed his way west, drunk on gold in 1853, to raid the land with his insatiable fist. 3% native now, after the Indian Removal Act. Sirens sound just minutes to get out. What do you take when you may never come back? Pet's ashes, an antique meat grinder, glass bottles from long defunct mines, a book of Emerson's poems, newspaper clippings stashed between the lines. Snapshot of late wife, my grandfather's tools, things that can never be replaced, ephemera held under the tongue like smuggled jewels, birthday guitar, moccasins, Polaroid camera. Assorted albums, pictures of the departed, flowers pressed in the family Bible, rosary, jacket and shoes, Pokemon cards, my grandmother's singer sewing table. German passport from 44, still safe from harm, sister's recipes, all my t-shirts and socks, a family quilt to keep us warm, my daughter's favorite high tops, volunteer fire lookout hat, my new basket that carried me and my kids as babes. I packed as if going for a month-long junket. All I could cram in the car, I tried to save. What do you take when you may never come back? Thank you. And the next one is a pretty new poem I have not read before. It's called Eggs. I pop the sodden diaper with one hand as the other wrangles her impatience. I wipe her pink pudendum, daub on cream, picture the clutch of eggs like seed pearls she carries in the twin purses of her ovaries. I was oblivious to birth until the jagged clock hand slit the belly of my complacency. How blithe this twisting life, I thought. No major trials, so little death. Forgetting the scald of adolescence, honing of wings, preparation to flee my parents' lair. Why bring a child into it? Year linked to year as I absorbed small thorns that flattened though did not deflate my resolve. Your fingers raped deep inside my bedrock, or was it the idea of you? A woman nearly 40, giddy with uncanny luck. I partitioned my bones, began to carve a nest for you, a shadow wing that filled my head with fabled dreams. Quickening nearly dragged me from the road as I flew blindly into conjured suns. In the birthing room, past and future duked it out inside my womb. Was this retribution for my shallowness, or practice for the fanged years when we would meet and clash and meet again? And when your voice bisected midnight air and rent the membrane of what was, I lay stitched and bleeding, my body not yet mine, already missing our old twinning. My husband by the bed, an only child, agog at this new life where he'd imagined none. A good enough father, already paling as a mate, as if parental blood were an endangered thing, not enough for wife and offspring too. An amber bottle tipped and stashed that drained me as it filled for you. Right, changing up the mood a little bit. This next poem is a dream poem. I have very vivid dream life and I write a lot from my dreams. It's called What I Learned by Moonlight. I have walked the world for generations. The dead cycle through, pop up in subways and alleys. Sometimes I greet them, escalator angels who ascend as I ride down. Just yesterday, I held my mother on the boulevard to tell her about the new bakery. I am often lost or late for something. Hummingbirds play ring-a-rosy round my head. Children trust me. They climb into my lap for comfort or stories. Sometimes I'm punished, though I don't know why. Obstacles crowd my path. With great effort, I push through. I have 5 cars, shoddy but drivable, and can never find them, yet I know they're parked on downtown streets. My houses have elegant bones and hidden theaters, but beg for paint. Talismans glitter from bony branches, catching moonlight. I can heal a wound by closing my eyes and holding my breath for 8 seconds. I seldom fall, but drift through space on pillowed currents. I'm flanked by my small tribe, a ragtag band. On the best nights, I fly. Thank you so much. I have 2 left. I'm going to read from my brand new chapbook, Finishing School, which just came out in January. And these are all poems about being a student and a teacher. The first one is called Memory. When you have forgotten the color of the bird lady's eyes, the one who cradled fallen robins, their venal roadmap pulsing through translucent flesh, on the street with the forgotten name, come find me, we'll rewind the clock. When you have forgotten the chemical assault in the grade school bathroom, the teachers dubbed court, the sting of gravel on the skin knee in the playground, and the shrill of the bell that summoned us back to metal desks, Lob a spitball at the board while Miss Heck's back is turned. When you have forgotten the stench of Madame Patel's perfume, a roux of cloves and fetid breath, and the pinch of her ceinture as she loomed above you, red pen like a dagger in her fist, meet me under the sycamore where Sammy buried the time capsule. When you have forgotten the words like 50s tattoos that pierce the flesh of your young heart, the taunts of cousins fighting over finch eggs and chemistry sets, and the topo map of rings that circled your sister's eyes with the passing years, her death a guillotine to the promise of forgiveness. Follow me to the grandmother tree and give me your hands. Sing with me the old lullabies we were suckled on. Thank you so much. And the very last poem is called East Side Story. Hands on our hearts in the dark theater, a gaggle of 8th grade girls slouch in the schwitz bath of our collective awe. As Tony and Maria embrace on the balcony, we taste their forbidden love, sweet and tart as new strawberries. Huddled beneath the triangle scarves we sewed in home ec, we hold our breath through the kisses, grip forearms at the rumble, exhale through the dance numbers. I want to be in America, bursts from my throat as I wash the dishes, sweep the house, or turn the soil. Bail bond shops border dress marts, blooming with quinceañera gowns, turquoise, yellow, and red. They bind my heart to the drama, like the rick-racked skirts of my island dolls that whirl across the IMAX screen of memory. Are we the same girls who flirted with Ouija boards at seances on the bottom bunk at summer camp? The ones who danced with lead-tongued boys at socials in the rec hall? So little has changed since then. Everything has changed. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Those are wonderful. To finish up, I'd like to read a poem by Hazel Hall. Before quiet. Before quiet, I will think of water lilies growing in a darkened pool, and my breath shall move like water, and my hands be limp and cool. It shall be as though I waited in a wooden place alone. I will learn the peace of lilies and will take it for my own. If a twinge of thought, if yearning come like wind into this place, I will bear it like the shadow of a leaf across my face. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thanks to poets for reading tonight. At a later date, we'll try to get Tony and Greg back on. Have a wonderful night.